First is that I don't think we should try so hard to be happy in life. The reason is that happiness... G'day guys, today's video is on the 10 rules of life that you're meant to follow, but you probably shouldn't. You see, we're taught these rules from a very young age by our parents, by our teachers, by our religious leaders, by a whole range of figures of authority in society. And the thing is that these rules have often been created with very good intentions. They make sense on the face of it, and we often unconsciously internalize them into our lives. Problem is that in many cases, these rules take us away from living a life of purpose and freedom. They take us away from living the best life that we possibly can. So in this video, I'm going to share with you my top 10 rules of life that so many of us accept as the rules of life that we really should follow, but which I think that you should break right now. And I'm going to share these rules with you along the way to a local beach club. I'm leaving my place now in Phuket and I'm on my way to meet my brother and his wife. It's at the Catch Beach Club. It's Saturday afternoon, so it's time for a drink. When I get there, I'm going to ask them to share their rules of life that they think you should break as well, and they're pretty interesting people, so I think it's going to be worth sticking around for. Now, before I jump on my scooter to get there, I'm going to share the first rule of life, which is to be kind always. So this is the rule that I think we need to break. We're taught from a young age to be kind to everyone around us, and it makes sense. We all want to be liked by other people. Kindness is certainly a virtue. We do need to be kind in many situations, but we should not be kind always. And the reason is very simple. When we have the motivation to be a kind person, what we end up doing is we try to figure out what are the values and the standards of people around us in our lives, and then we end up trying to live according to their values and standards. We try to be nice all of the time. We try to live by other people's rules. So there's a trap in trying to be kind all of the time. Of course, being kind is a wonderful thing to do, and we should try to be kind as much as we possibly can, except when it stops us from living the life that we're meant to, when it prevents us from really figuring out what our own internal values and standards really are. All right, guys, the next rule that I think we all need to give up on is the rule of till death do us part. And of course, I'm talking about the thing that we all say when we get married, which is that we will stay with that one person forever until death do us part. I think that this is one of those rules of life that we definitely grow up believing in. We learn about how important the institution of marriage is, and the rule doesn't just play out in marriage, but rather in our relationships, where we all want, hope, and dream that that person we're with at the time is the person that we're going to stay with forever until death do us part. I think this is one of those rules that it can be a healthy principle. It can be a nice thing to strive for. I think that commitment's really important in relationships. We're going to encounter many challenges. Nothing's perfect. We should stick at it. We should fight for the relationship in many situations, but not in all situations. And that's why I think it's not an appropriate rule for us to hold on to so dearly. There's going to be many situations in all of our lives where it's simply time to move on. And I think that time when we can figure out when it's the time to move on is when we're not growing and evolving in the relationship, when the two people are just better off without each other. So it's important to let go of that rule of life. And I've just arrived at Lachlan Beach. This is one of my favorite places in Phuket. I come here one morning out of every 3 to do my morning run, and I want to show you this beautiful part of the world. Well, the water's usually very still. When the tide's out, the beach is hard. It's just an incredible place for a morning run. We are headed exactly where my finger is right now. It's about 7 kilometers away once we go on the roads, looping right around, and it's a really beautiful part with a few trendy beach clubs, so I'm pretty excited to get there and have my first drink. Oh man, when I stand still, I don't know if you can see that, there's a few of them either having a fight or reproducing, and they were crawling up my leg. I was wondering what it was while I'm driving. I think they're just everywhere at the moment. I think they're doing something pretty important because they are not leaving. Come on. I get these little ants crawling up in me, so I'm going to keep on moving, but I just want to show you this beautiful little lake. Wow. Oh man, I'm covered in ants at the moment, so I got to keep on moving. The next rule of life that I think we need to give up on is respect your elders. The thing about rules is that when we say something's a rule, it means that we need to always follow it. And that's what I think we need to rethink, to break this hold on always focusing on the rules of life and creating these formulas or kind of operating systems in our minds that guide all of the choices that we've got. So respect your elders, of course. We need to be respectful of the people that have come before us. We need to be grateful for what they've created. We think that our lives are really just our own, that we're the ones that can take responsibility for everything that happens in our lives. And to a certain extent, that's true. But we stand on the shoulders of everyone that's come before us. We completely depend on them. Think about, at least in Western civilization, how much we appreciate freedom of speech. That certainly hasn't always been there. We depend so greatly on the people that fought for that in bygone times. I'm so appreciative of our elders. They've given us so much, but it doesn't mean that we need to always respect them. There are so many parts of the world, including in Western civilization, where we need to move beyond what they've taught us about what the standards of behavior really are, on the way that we can grab hold of some of our moral values and what we think is really important and bring them into the society and the culture and the politics and the legal systems of the world that we live in. So I think it's really important for sure for us to respect our elders, but we can't hold on to that as a rule. We have to learn when it's time to break the rules that have come before us, to break through the standards created by others that have come before us so that we can continue to grow and evolve together. All right, the journey continues. G'day guys, I'm recording this now a few days after my venture to the Catch Beach Club, and I encountered a problem once I got there. You see, I kept on recording the rules of life at different places along the way, and once I got there I realized that my microphone had stopped working. So I switched to Jess's phone and I captured the rules of life from Lachlan and Jess and their fantastic rules of life. Let's go straight in to Lachlan and Jess. So I'm here with my little sister, Jess. Now, as you can see, she's not actually my sister. She's my sister-in-law, because this is Lachlan's wife. Hello.
Hi. I am his sister, the one he never wanted to have, but he got one, so.
Well, I noticed, like, she's my first sister ever, and she does what I expect the sisters to do, which is she teases me all the time.
It's kind of a joyful thing to do.
Just like a sister, I'm sure. Anyway, so Jess, the question is, right, what are the rules of life that you've grown up with, that everyone believes we should all follow, that you think actually we need to break?
I don't know, it's just lots of things I want to break the rules because I'm Asian, I'm Vietnamese, and since I was born in Korea, my parents and my teachers, so everyone around me told me that I should focus on studying, have to study harder to get into a better university. And when I get into the university, I have to study harder to get better degrees. So when I graduated, I can get a better job and I have a stable life, earn a lot of money, because earning a lot of money in that way is kind of like the way people define success. But after a lot of time happened in my life, I went to the university, obviously, but I think that you don't have to go to the university to be success. And that's the thing that you can break the rules. If you want to become a baker, bartender, you just going to, you just take any course, then being like doing that job, and it could lead you to the successful. It's not only just going to the university.
Alrighty, Lachlan. Question is, rules of life that we all grow up believing to be true, real, that we all should follow. What are the rules that you think people should break?
In Australia, where I grew up, it's commonly advised that you go to university after you finish school. But I think for a lot of people, that doesn't make sense. And I think it's going to set them back quite a few years in terms of making money and building life skills. I think it's important for some people to go to university, those that learn practical skills like becoming a doctor or whatever, but a lot of people go to university to do arts and courses like this, which is totally useless and has no practical benefit. So my advice would be for a lot of people, or the rule that I would break for a lot of people would be don't go to university and just start working.
One of the other rules I shared on that journey to catch is the rule that you should always follow your dreams. Now, there's nothing wrong with chasing your dreams. Dreams are really important in life. That's what moves us forward. That's what helps us create new things. But something we all need to go through is a period of deep introspection in figuring out what are the dreams that are truly our own, and what are the dreams that have been implanted in us from society, from the education system, from culture, and from our parents. I know that many people end up living out the dreams of their parents. They live the lives that their parents wanted them to live. They marry the person that their family thinks would be best for them. Or it could be that the businesses we build aren't really the things that we want to do. I know in my case, I used to work towards a vision of success that was just making me feel burned out, exhausted, and frustrated. And I had to go really deep in figuring out what were my own dreams that came from my core. And when I could figure that out, I was able to work towards achieving my dreams. But the thing is, we shouldn't just have this blind rule that you should always follow your dreams. We need to be much more discerning than that in figuring out what are the dreams that are truly our own. Another rule of life we need to all give up on is that we should always celebrate what makes us special and unique. I learned a long time ago that celebrating what made me unique was making me really unhappy. The reason is that when I constantly focused on what made me different from people around me, I started to become very lonely. I started to focus a lot on my challenges in life. And then I believed that other people didn't face my challenges in the same way. When I gave up on trying to be so special all of the time, not only did I become more humble and more able to connect with people around me, I also realized that the challenges I faced in life, many other people experienced the same challenges as me. I was then able to connect with people through facing our challenges together. And I'm talking about challenges that can be really personal, from feeling lonely right through to the big picture challenges, all of the frustrations I feel at many of the injustices I see in the world. When we shift from feeling so different from people around us to starting to feel that we actually share so many different things in common, from our challenges right through to our hopes and our dreams, we're more able to connect with each other in much more meaningful ways. Another rule that I used to believe in is the rule that we should think big. And this comes especially in entrepreneurial circles where people encourage you to shoot for the stars so that you may at least reach the moon. And again, thinking big helped me in my early days. It got me going. I formulated a vision and attracted people around the vision. The problem in my case was that the vision distracted me from doing the real hard work in the present. And often we need to take things step by step. We need to move forward in an incremental way. What we need to be able to do is to connect our small steps forward with an underlying vision, but rather than focus on a grand sweeping vision of thinking big, I think there's better ways to really figure out what we're doing in that present moment. And to do that, I think we can connect the actions we do every day with a deeper sense of purpose. And rather than the purpose being based on a future vision, I think it can be based on the present moment and all of the energy that we've already got within us. There's a link in the description below where I explain how to find your purpose without using visualization. I go much deeper into it. You should always follow your passions in life. This is another rule that I think we need to give up on. The reason that we don't always need to follow our passion is because we need something else that's much more important, and that is autonomy and mastery in whatever it is that we want to do in life. Something I found out a long time ago is that my enjoyment in the workplace or in businesses that I'm building always increased the more I was able to carry out the tasks autonomously. And what that means is that I was able to do my creative work free from the interference of others. And I think that we can build up our autonomy inside the workplace, even if we're doing things that don't really represent our passion in life. Because when we get better at things, when we practice doing things, when we're able to do things without having a supervisor breathing down our neck, we really enjoy exercising our creativity. I think that our creativity can operate independently of passions and interests, that we can move across many different realms very easily, and we start to celebrate who we are for our creativity without needing our creativity to depend on the passion itself. So by giving up on the focus on passion and instead just focusing on getting better at what you're doing, on practicing, on being the best that you possibly can, you'll build up your autonomy, you'll build up your mastery, and you'll start to exercise more of your creativity, and that in and of itself will make you enjoy your work much more. Okay, for the final rule of life, I'm gonna go back in time. We're in front of the Catch Beach Club just after I'd spoken to Jess and Lachlan about their rules of life. I can see why they're together. They said pretty much the same thing, but those are just wonderful rules of life to share that we should all break at some stage in our lives. Now, I've changed the camera. My sound stopped working on the way. I lost a couple of the rules, so this is now a shorter video than it was intended. I'm using Jess's iPhone right now, so I just want to finish with the final rule. And this is the rule that you need to make yourself happy first. I think this is a rule we need to break for two reasons. First is that I don't think we should try so hard to be happy in life. The reason is that happiness is the kind of emotion that emerges spontaneously. So rather than always trying to be happy, for me, I've found that I live a better life by focusing on fulfillment. And I get fulfillment from many different things. So I get fulfillment from having good relationships with people. I get fulfillment from my work, from my day-to-day activities. And for me, having good relationships and really loving the work that I do every single day has made all of the difference in my life. I had to stop focusing on trying to be happy, which I think caused me to be selfish for a very long time. And I think we can empower ourselves by having good relationships and really enjoying what we do every single day and getting a lot of fulfillment from it, and the happiness just emerges. The other thing I want to say about happiness is that I think that rather than focusing on making ourselves happy, we can live wonderful lives by trying to help the people around us to live happy lives, to live fulfilled lives. So by focusing on our relationships, we can act in service to people around us. That's where I think the real fulfillment of life comes from. So that's the final rule I wanted to share. What are your rules of life? Share them in the comments below. I'd love to learn from you. The other question I've got is, what do you think of this style of video? I mean, where I can show a little bit of what's going on, introduce you to different people in my life. Do you enjoy this more? Do you get more out of that? Or do you prefer the other videos I've been doing, which are more the video essays, just speaking, sharing the idea? Let me know in the comments below, because I'd love to learn. I'm really enjoying sharing these videos lately, so I'm going to keep on going, keep on doing the best I can. And any comments you leave, when you subscribe, when you hit the like button, it definitely provides a lot of motivation, and it gives me the feedback to show that people are watching and that people appreciate the videos. So let me know, and see you next time.